Next thing I want to cover really quickly is GSU elements. We have themed elements that we have already created that you can use that have the GSU colors and padding and spacing and all that stuff already programmed into them. All you got to do is populate them with your own information. To do that, click on a plus sign anywhere on your page where you want that content to go, and you go up here to My Elements. This is where the GSU stored elements, GSU elements are stored. And you have buttons, you have blue buttons, you have transparent blue buttons if you're using them over an image, white buttons, white transparent buttons, creative links, depending on the background color. If the background color is light, you use blue. If it's dark, you use white. You have tabs, you have vertical tabs with the tabs on the left, on the right. You have toggles, you have an accordion. I'm going to put in vertical tabs here real quick. You can see the tabs pop up over here since they're vertical tabs on the left. To add new sections, just click on the plus sign. It'll add as many sections as you want. To edit those sections, select the section that you want to change and go in the edit section option here. Click on that, and this is where you can add like the title for that section. So if you have like a frequently asked questions section, you can set it up here with tabs. And so this is, just asking about how do I apply to GSU? Now, you'll want to change this section ID to match the title, just with lowercase and no spaces. So I would just make this how do I apply? That's probably good enough. The section ID is very important for, first of all, search engine optimization and 508 compliance, but also you can now make this section in this tab an actual link. So if somebody typed in the page, the page title / £, how do I apply, and hit enter, if you made that a link, it would take them to this page, take them down to this tab section, and open up this specific tab. It is just really, really cool in a way to shrink a bunch of pages down to a single page if you use this for content. So I added the titles here, and now if I want to add content to this tab, make sure this tab is selected and highlighted. You can see that it is. I'm going to click on the plus sign, and you can add anything that you see here to this section, except the only exceptions are adding another tab or an accordion within a tab or an accordion. The nesting for that, the coding that nests that information, is just too much and it'll break your page. The workaround that we have, though, is you can use toggles instead. So toggles work kind of like an accordion, except they're not as code heavy. So let's show you what that looks like. I'm going to duplicate that a few times, and let's preview this. But you can add rows, you can add forms, you can add images, anything that you can see within the elements, you can add into an accordion or a tab. So let's have this load. Let's scroll down to the bottom of this page. So here we go. Here's the tab section. And here are the toggles. And as you can see, they work kind of like accordions, except they're one at a time. And an accordion is set up like tabs, where it's all of the sections are in one element. Let me give you a great example of how to use those in your everyday editing of your pages. So here on the safety services page, all of these options used to be separate pages. Pedestrian safety, key control, security guard. They used to be their own separate pages, and when people were jumping between them, the pages would take forever to load just to show a little bit of content. This is just a few paragraphs for each of these sections. So they combine them all onto a single page and then put each of these, the content for the individual pages, in just tabs. And here you can see how they use toggles to get even more information to appear without displaying all the content at the same time. And the beauty of this is what they should have done is named these tabs correctly. I've been meaning to reach out to them to remind them to change them. Patrol, as you can see, is just labeled #1. Instead of, it should be, #patrol. And this should be #pedestrian-safety, but they have it labeled as 2. But what you can do, if they labeled those correctly, it could be like, it would look like this. So police, our services, #patrol. And that is what search engines are looking for. It shows you there's content to these tabs or accordions, and it's helpful to the user. But watch this when I type in like #5. It takes you to this page, takes you down to this tab section, and opens up the 5th key control option here, this section. So you can make links and actually put those links in your navigation bar, or make links on the page to take people to specific sections in an accordion or a tab. It's really, really cool. So just be aware that that option is available. And just to show you, accordions, Georgia State accordion, work the same way as tabs. They work the same as horizontal or vertical tabs. You can just create new sections, add new sections, and then edit those sections. Titles here, make sure the section ID matches section title, just with lowercase and no spaces. And then you can add any content you want in here as such. This brings up something I want to point out too. So here I just added a row, and if you need columns within that row, this is where you add columns. You put your mouse over these 3 lines over here, and you can either choose pre-selected options that they have here. Here's 2 columns of 50-50, 1 column of 2/3, 1 column 1/3, 3 even columns, or you can make a custom set of columns. Any numbers that you want that actually add up to a full fraction. One that we typically like to use is 5/12 plus 7/12. And we use this when we'll like put an image over here and then text over here. Just try to keep them in fractions of like 12 or smaller. The grids for the pages that we have built are built in grids of 12. I'll get to that in just a little bit. But you can add any fraction you want that looks good for your page. Go for it. Last things, the elements I want to cover are, let me just add a row here and make 2 columns 50-50. So I'm going to put over here a blue button. And you can change the alignment if you need it to be left aligned or right aligned. It just automatically comes as center aligned. Don't change anything else. Don't change any of the colors, any of the backgrounds, or any of the stylings. Just title, link, and if you need it to be aligned left, center, or right. So to add a link, and this goes for any other thing on your page, text, buttons, creative links, just click on the button link. And if you're going to add a link to a page within your site, what we call a local link, try to find the link over here so you make sure you get the correct URL so you can search your site by typing in keywords here. So I want to make a link to this page here. You select it, and then to make it a local link, what you want to do is delete everything from HTTPS to edu, but leave that slash in there. The reason we do this is, first of all, it shrinks the URL to its base element, so just the page name, or if it had like a parent page, that would of course be here. If such a page existed, this was a subpage of it. So it's just everything from HTTPS to edu you remove, and it shortens it, and it makes it so that if for whatever reason in the future you guys decide to change the base URL for your site, so if this ever changed from wptraining.beta to say wptraining.alpha, every single link within your site would break immediately if you had the full URL in here where it points to beta. So if you remove that and you change the site name, the site URL, and of course that's nothing that anybody takes lightly, and it's something that you have to work with us to do, since it's something major site-wide that we'd have to take care of. But if that ever happened, your links within your site, all your internal links, would work immediately after the switch had been made. So I'm going to add that change in there and click Set Link, and then Save Changes, and that button now has a link to it. And over here, I'm going to add a creative link. So go to My Elements. I'm going to go to Blue Creative Link because the background is light color. Same thing, change the text here, whatever it needs to be, and then add a link. Now I'm going to add an outside link. And that means any link to any other site other than, in this instance, I'm in wptraining.beta. So even if I make a link to anything else in a different GSU site. So even if I just go to https://www.gsu.edu, you need to leave everything in there, the full URL. Oops. And you need to make sure that outside links open in a new tab. Internal links, links within your site, make sure that they open in the same tab, but click on this checkbox to open them in a new tab. And this goes for any link. And no problem, Brittany. Send me a text after this, an email, and I'll send you a copy of the rest of the recording. Brittany was sleeping, everyone. So outside links open in a new tab. So I'm going to set this link. There we go. And then I'm going to preview the changes I just made. And after this, all I have is just a few basic GSU grammar and punctuation rules, and then I'll point out help that you can get, places you can go for help, and then we're done. All right, scroll to the bottom here. All right, so here's the vertical tab. Here's the accordion. I didn't put anything in any of these accordion sections, but they pop up and they look cool if I did. Here's what a blue button looks like, and here's what a creative link looks like. And remember, all blue buttons and creative links need to be all capitalized. Them in Oswald font, the only thing that has to be capitalized.